Oh, thank you. I didn't hear our other show, so I just trust you that you clapped.
Yeah, it worked out this
But
time.
anyway,
We're live now too. We're there. We
all
did it.
right. Whose voice is that? What? It's been forever. It's original founder Nathan pinch hitting for everybody else,
The
except
founder.
Paul, who invited me.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say co-founder because I think
The
Sean is really the spirit.
Founder.
All
the
right.
one who founded.
This is episode 669. It's pretty good. That's a lot. That's so many episodes.
That is a lot of them. Yeah. Yeah. And I remember every single one perfectly.
Wow.
That's not true. I don't remember last week even.
Do you guys I'm assuming you say the name of the show, right? This is the top-down perspective.
Yeah, we usually do a preamble.
Isometric.
But
yeah,
we should just jump into it. This is the top.
You don't got any housekeeping, like vacuuming tips, or what does that mean?
No, like stuff that's going on. But yeah, I guess the things that are going on.
Where are Sean and John right now?
Summer Games Fest, I guess.
Oh, the Summer Games Fest.
Specifically, though, Sean is there. John is on a road trip to Massachusetts, I think.
That's not where the Summer Games Fest is.
No, that's
where the Boston Red Sox play.
It's true. Yep.
Yeah.
That's very true.
The Green Monster.
The big green monster.
Anyway.
That's where they are, though. There wasn't even going to be a show this week, but an our thing, I just wanted to see if you'd be available, and you're like, yeah, all right. Like, we could talk about games for a bit or something.
Yeah, we were talking about violent manga.
It's true.
Which is what we do now. But that's a different show. So games we played, I guess, is the first order of business then?
Well, the first order of business is this is a top-down perspective for June 8th, and I'm Paul Fleck.
June 8th. All right, I'm Nathan Rohr.
Okay, and
I'm
now,
here this time.
I now would be where, I guess Sean specifically says,
like,
what have you been playing? Yeah.
Well, Paul, I'm glad you asked. We drove down to Strathmore to get a cheap copy of Super Mario Maker 2 on Kijiji.
Okay.
So I've been putting off picking up that game because I kind of felt like it was one of those half sequels, you know, like I had the first game. I was satisfied with just having the first game.
It is definitely not a half
eventually,
sequel, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess digging into it, I do like some of the, you know, you can build worlds and whatnot, and they have a new art style.
Yeah.
So there's a decent amount of stuff. I hadn't actually delved into the making portion of it. Is the 100 Mario Challenge just gone?
Yeah.
Is that not a thing anymore?
That's the one that we're all pissed about, because the 100 Mario Challenge was actually good. What they have now is this shitty endless mode, where you just play until you can't anymore.
I was doing the endless mode. Like, easy is so easy that it's like, oh, this might never end. But I'm just continuing my game forever at like 99 lives. And I'll get a tricky level and I'll go down to 96 lives. And then on the next level, I'll get them back. And like, it's just, all right. At least I'm past 100 on that. So at least I'm on the leaderboard or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's just an ongoing poking at dumb levels. I kind of love the ones where it's just like, somebody just put a flag. That's it. You start the level and it's just a total waste of time.
There's a weird amount of those actually in easy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I want to upload some levels, so I hit a threshold so I unlock more stuff or something. I don't know what people are doing.
It must be.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Is there any way to screen, like, it's just like, you know what? I just want to play Mario Brothers 3. It's a killer game. Give me some Mario Brothers 3 levels, and that's all it's going to do, you know?
If you go to the, like, course, planet, or world, or galaxy, or whatever the fuck they call it, and scroll through them and kind of look at the previews, yeah, I guess. But otherwise, there's no way to just sort by game type like that.
Yeah. Like, I was doing people's worlds that they made, and there was, like, ones where it's like, oh, killer, this starts with the Super Mario Brothers 3 level.
Yeah.
And then, like, 5 of the 10 or something are, like, new Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Which, I don't hate new Mario Brothers, but it's not one of the greatest games ever. in all of history. So
right.
I'd be more inclined to play Super Mario World or Mario Brothers 3. But
it's always hard to go back to Mario 1 in Mario Maker after you've been playing like literally all of the other ones.
I think I still find it funny when there's like assets and stuff that weren't in the game. Like it's just like, oh, weird. This enemy in this art style just looks crazy.
Sure.
But
or like
yeah,
ducking.
It is a bit weird.
As like little Mario.
Ducking.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of the physics and stuff just don't feel quite the same.
Right.
Which is to its benefit because that original game's a little janky in that respect. So
yeah.
But it was a classic. So 48 years ago. That's not quite right. 38 years ago. Anyway, so yeah, I've been playing a lot of Mario. However, I'm competing with Switch time with my wife because she's playing a ton of Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
What's the temperature of that game here at the top-down offices?
John was burnt out before even playing it because he had some house guests over and apparently they wouldn't shut up about it. So he was kind of like, yeah, okay, I'll play it eventually. But right now I just don't want to hear anything about this game, which is fair.
Okay.
Sean absolutely loves it. I really like it, but I have put it down because Diablo's out now. So I haven't gone back to it for about a week.
Okay. Yeah, I've probably put about 3 to 5 hours into it.
Okay.
I don't know that I like it, but I also was not one of the Breath of the Wild people.
I wasn't either. I will say you played the worst part. The beginning of this game is easily the worst part of it. It's bad. I really don't like the intro.
Here, we got to introduce your powers and give you some basics. Yeah.
It's weirdly like hand-holdy in a way the first one isn't. There's no real sense of wonder the way like you just kind of walk out of a cave, are greeted by Santa Claus on a paraglider and saying like, hey, there's like a thing over there you might want to check out, and then you kind of do whatever. Like the fact that this one railroads you literally in some of the cases of you building a machine to get around to the next island and then talk to a robot who tells you exactly what to do is so like anti what made Breath of the Wild good as a first step.
I mean, I kind of get it because the building mechanics are a little cumbersome and weird. So it's kind of like, hey, this is the major new concept in this game. You're gonna have to poke around at this for a bit.
It gets better, I promise you.
Yeah, I think it's just the stuff from Breath of the Wild that returned I wasn't stoked about. Like, shrines are back, breaking weapons is back.
Yeah.
Those weren't things I enjoyed the first time around, and there's like, no, everything you're using is going to shatter when you fight like 3 guys. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's almost made me start getting annoyed with the kind of like every shrine has a secret extra chest or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it's just garbage in there. It's just like, oh, hey, it's a disposable thing in there. Great. It's never going to be like just. I would rather just like, hey, give me some rupees or something, something that like goes in my pocket.
The thing that sucks, and I'll just warn you about this now, is that you're right. Except some of them do have something really good every now and then, which makes you still need to check them.
I guess. All right. It's like a loot table thing. But it'll just be like I open it and it's like, great. Like a bow that's kind of okay. And I already have 5. Right. So I got to drop something or whatever. Like it's like the puzzle itself was fun, but then what you get for it is such a lame. It's like, oh, there's a carrot on a stick, but it's like moldy and kind of misshapen. I don't know. It was starting to get under my skin a bit. But whatever. It might just be like this just isn't for me. Like this direction they're going. So I might just leave it to others.
I know that you and I generally see eye to eye actually about Breath of the Wild stuff. I will say I found it less annoying, I think, in this one. It's still annoying in the way that like it sucks that my thing broke and I have to take a moment to switch to another one to continue this battle that I'm deep in the middle of already. Like that part always just feels shitty. But like it's this one, have you started fusing weapons and stuff like that with materials?
A little bit.
So as you fight things, they drop materials that are just meant to be fused to weapons, and they like make every weapon just extraordinarily better. So like I never feel like I have underpowered weapons or like I don't have something fun to play with. It just is annoying that I have to still switch between them because they break now at this point. But like I have
and there's just like a step to assemble everything and whatever, but
yeah, so
it's just seemed really menu heavy also. Like, is
it's
there a way to just be like, you know what?
No,
I love these mushroom skewers. I'm just gonna map it to a button or something, and then I can eat them.
No, because
I'm gonna get hurt.
As forward thinking as Nintendo is about trying something new with their IPs, they're not forward thinking enough to see what other games do for like user experience things and like quality of life, and they don't implement that sort of thing, which is unfortunate.
Sure. Like if Link just had some sort of like bottle or flask or something, and there was just potion in there.
Yeah.
And you know, when the blood moon comes, it refills your blood potion. And you can just press a button and drink it when you're in the middle of a frenetic fight.
I mean,
it's just kind of better for it.
I mean, yeah, I also prefer Elden Rings and Souls games, but like, there is this weird problem, and like, I think maybe out of like the four of us that do this show, you're the only one that can relate, in that like, you have to take your mindset out of like, oh, Dark Souls is better Zelda, which is why I like it. And just remember that this is like kind of a different thing, and like appreciate it for what it is, and rather than
it's just
dismiss it for what it isn't, because it's so easy to just be like, yeah, Souls is way better in this thing, and then just dismiss it. Where this game does a lot of things
later, guys.
You're good.
Yeah. I'm gonna play this other 40 out of 40 Famitsu game.
Right, exactly.
But whatever. Koroks seem great. I'm still happy with Koroks. They make cute sounds, and that's great. So
it's funny because the Koroks are the one thing I fucking hate in the game, like a lot. But I mean, I hated them before.
There was a guy, like they're all like, "Oh man, I'm an idiot. I packed my backpack way too big for my body. I need your help." And then it's just like, dude, like I'm just gonna carry you like a mile, and then here you go.
Yeah,
I still love that they're like, you found my friend. Oh, it's my friend, and they're all happy. So
sure,
I don't know, but it's maybe riding a line a couple times. Like, really, you can't go over there. There's not even a puzzle. It's just
those ones in particular, like. At least they still have the thing where you climb a mountaintop or a tree. It's like, oh, you like there's a Korok there, so at least it kind of feels like there was some reason to do it. The ones where it's literally just like my friend's down that hill. It's like, well, then roll your fat ass down there. What do you want me to do for you?
Carry me, peon.
Yeah, exactly.
They're kind of rude about it.
And then you just strap them to a rocket or a crucifix, as people have been doing.
Oh yeah. I guess there's weird ways you can treat a Korok, but I've been nice to them thus far. Yeah. I don't know. It whatever. It's big. It's the fastest selling Nintendo game ever or something. So what does my take matter?
Well, it's definitely one of those things that like if you were pretty cold on Breath of the Wild, it's still a hard sell, because I also miss dungeons so much.
It's just like, oh, we nailed it in Breath of the Wild, so we're just going to iterate on that. And it's like, I kind of didn't like 5 things about it, and 4 of them are still here, or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Yeah.
Instead,
I've been playing hot RPG sequel, 4th in a classic franchise from the 90s. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Fallout 4. Hot new game.
Yeah. How do you feel about Fallout 4?
57 user reviews on Metacritic. People hate this game. I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it for the most part.
Sure.
It's like Guns, Skyrim, but real janky sometimes.
Yeah.
But I knew that, so I'm okay with it. And there's some good writing and some fun monsters, and I'm having a pretty good time, but it's been a long time since I played a Fallout game.
Sure.
Probably a decade and change. I think New Vegas, maybe. Like, I don't think I've touched it since then.
Okay.
So, yeah. It's pretty good. I did end up getting entangled in DLC, like, way earlier than I intended. Just, they don't really distinguish for you until you're in it. So it's just like, hey, this person wants to talk to you way up here. And you're like, okay. All right, we're going to Maine. We're going to Far Harbor, baby. And it's like, oh man, I'm supposed to rescue my son. all right, whatever. I'll just do this for 25 hours and like navigate this like radioactive fog island and broker peace between these three factions and whatever. It just felt like my headcanon for my character was just like, why am I doing any of this right now? This makes no sense.
It is definitely like the worst Fallout game for that, because the other ones are kind of just like the thing happens and you exit the vault and you're kind of exploring. This one has kind of like a reason why your character should be in a rush to do the thing, like an emotional connection to it, but like instead I'm going to collect a bunch of tape
learned
or
a couple
something.
things. I at least learned a few things before I like went down that path, so it's not like, oh no, there's like a swaddling baby somewhere, and I'm just not giving a crap about that. I just left. I'm the worst mother. It's like, no. They've grown up, and I know that, so I don't know where the Institute took them or something. That sucks, but this island's going to explode if I don't solve it. Was kind of my justification, so
sure,
I stayed up there in Fog World and dealt with all that. Kind of nice to get back to Boston after that, though. There's just not an ever-present radioactive threat.
Yeah.
Always. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you like Fallout, you should play it. If you don't. It's bad sometimes. I don't know.
It's weird because there definitely was a lot of hate for that game that I kind of don't understand
when
in some
it came
ways.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if I'm able to just like hardware past those problems now, like 8 years later. There's one issue I have where it just loads funny when I'm going to the main map, and the solve I thought was like various things. Everybody has their own solution. For me, it's just alt tab out of the game, open it again, and the game remembers, oh yeah, this shouldn't take long, and then you're there, and it loaded the open world for you. It's really stupid, but Bethesda, I don't know. Starfield in stores soon. Will it be that? So
probably. I don't know. I'm in on Starfield already because I play these games, and if I don't like it after a while, I'll just bounce out, and I feel okay about the time I did have that I enjoyed in them. I didn't finish Fallout 4, like for instance, or 76.
Yeah, 76 was the one I never heard great stuff about. I guess it turned a corner at some point. It must have, or it wouldn't have.
Yeah, they added characters and stories. Go figure. That's kind of a thing people wanted.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, characters and stories are probably the best thing about it. I do like shooting stuff to some extent, like big handguns and whatever. It's nice knowing there's no level cap, so it's just like, oh, whatever, just choose whatever perk. It doesn't matter. You can get all of them if you play long enough. So I'm not like sweating those decisions too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, sorry, I was faking everybody out, swerving everybody with this RPG talk. Obviously, the real fourth sequel that matters this week has to do with Hell Demons. I didn't play it, so
God damn it,
passing the torch. Over here. What?
No. Well, okay. Listen, you did play it. You played the beta. And I'm here to tell you that if you like that, you should just pick this up, because it's more of that forever. That's what it is. Like, that was the perfect slice of what you're going to be doing.
Is Melee viable now?
Yes.
Or did
apparently,
they it? Okay.
Well, apparently Barbarian, by the time the game came out, was so strong that they had to nerf it multiple times because it was doing just stupid amount of damage. So they overcorrected.
So they went too far the other way for the beta.
Yeah.
And now it's found a better spot. Okay.
And apparently Druid in the late game is incredible as well now. So that's cool. Like, that's good that they're fixing it.
I was enjoying Druid. That was my main time in the beta, so yeah. You can turn into a bear person, like Bjorn in The Hobbit, if you've ever read that. Or Wild Shape for those D&D nuts out there.
True.
You know, in that new movie.
Yeah. I did see that movie. I did, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much wild shaping. It was fun.
It's fun. That was a fun movie. Even though, which Chris is that? Chris
Pine.
Chris Pine melting is going to haunt my dreams forever.
That was some great stuff.
Yeah, that was
quality chicanery right there.
Really good. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Diablo 4. I'm playing a necromancer, and it's been super fun. I've been having a good time with it. I definitely feel like
I think that's what I played as in 3. So,
oh, so
is it you have a big army of skeletons and
yeah,
monsters helping you?
the necromancer didn't come out in 3 until years later in a DLC thing.
Yeah, that's the later version I have or whatever. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, similar thing. I have a little army of dudes. I think currently I can summon 4 warriors, 5 mages, because I have a perk on one of my things that allows me to summon 2 mages more. And right now I'm using an iron golem as like my golem that I can summon as well.
What difficulty did you go with for your first run through?
Oh, the highest I could. So 2, I think. Nightmare 2, whatever they call it. And then I just found out the other night that until I beat the campaign, because I've been doing side stuff and like campaign when I want to, so I haven't finished the campaign, but I can't upgrade to Nightmare level 3 or whatever the fuck it's called until I finish the campaign. So now I gotta mainline that shit so I can get better loot.
It's like New Game Plus kind of rollover. And
yeah, it's like
things.
just making the world more difficult, which is, I guess, kind of a newish standard thing that these types of games do, where you can kind of make everything harder for yourself, and then they drop better loot.
Yeah, I guess I've done this wrong with all my time with this genre. Is just like, I haven't played a lot of these, so I should probably set it at normal or something. And
Right.
It's just like, this is brain dead easy. Like, I'm falling asleep over here.
Right.
Especially Diablo 3. So I think at some point I cranked it up mid game or something, because it just made anticlimaxes happen all the time. You'd have like a demon or something just like taunting you and be like, "Oh, when you get to the bottom of this dungeon, you're gonna get smoked," and then he's dead during his first like line of dialogue or whatever. So okay, yeah, I guess if you feel remotely competent at games, maybe try higher levels.
I mean, I personally would say that if you've like played this type of game before and you don't mind paying a little more attention than normal, than you would like brain dead easy, like you said, you should always just go for 2, the default harder difficulty in the beginning, because yes, the easier one is kind of meant for you to brain dead see your way through the campaign, or for people that don't play games much to have a decent time. The other one is kind of tailored for like every fight should feel kind of like you did something. Even if it's not very hard, it still is going to require you to press like at least 2 buttons instead of just like clicking on things. You know?
Or at least think what attacks would work better against this guy. Or
yes,
whatever.
Exactly.
Like put a little more effort
engage with the mechanics a little bit more.
Click.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it still function as a podcast game at higher difficulties? Because that's my favorite thing about Diablo.
It's so much side stuff, and everything scales to your level, right? So no matter what, you're always going to have like something. You're going to have a check mark or a checkbox to mark off to do something. So it's perfect for that. You don't really have to think too much, but yeah.
I guess unlike last time around, this one's launching day and date, console and PC, right?
Yeah, it did.
So that's a little bit of an interest. Like, I wonder how radically different the HUD and everything and the menus look, because that was the big striking difference between console and PC.
So one of the things
experimenting with those.
One of the things I think is a little bit annoying with this game's UI on PC is that I feel like it's a little more basic to make it so that like it's on par with console. Like, I don't like that I can only have basically 4 button abilities and 2 click abilities when I have a keyboard that I should theoretically be able to have 10 like abilities on my hotbar and then the click abilities, right?
Yeah, that is a little weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I think it's also just part of what Blizzard does, where they take an idea and they kind of pare it down into an easier to digest thing, and then do a bunch of like passive stuff with that.
Is there like cross-platform PvP or anything in this?
Oh, like, I don't know. I haven't done any PvP yet, but I would assume so. Yeah.
just if they want to even the playing ground a little bit there, so it's not just like, oh well, this guy over here on PC has so many more spells at the ready. This isn't fair at all. But
yeah, could be.
Yeah, it is a little weird to yoke those together.
But I don't know if you've played like Kingdoms of Amalur or like RPG type stuff on console. They had ways that you could like hold down L2 or R2 and then the face buttons gave you another set of things. I think Dragon's Dogma even does this. You can have more than 4 abilities.
Yeah.
With a controller.
You can hold LB or something and it brings up a bigger circle or something.
So the fact that there aren't like 6 to 8 seems weird to me, but which it makes me kind of think that it is Blizzard wanting to streamline it more than it is a like necessity for parity, but who knows?
Okay.
No.
You kind of like Immortals, right? You're one of the people that
I love Diablo Immortal.
Okay.
I think it's great until you get to the part where they clearly just want you to pay for it. There is a part in that game where you get to it and they're like, yo, if you don't want to spend 200 hours every week or every season doing this, you're going to give us like $20 every season. And I'm like, no. And that's when I installed. Yeah. That part sucks.
How does it compare in how it functions, Like, is there...
Oh, this is a real game.
Similar... Okay, great.
Like, yeah. This is a real game that you pay money for. They give you content, and they give you good loot drops, and they give you a lot of mechanics you can play with, and the amazing cinematics, great world, all of that stuff. Like, it's all there for the money. Where Diablo Immortal was very much, what can you attack and, like, pretend like you're getting loot that you can, like, maybe pay for an upgrade later.
All right, here's a dumb thought. It's going to lose all credibility with the PC gaming crowd, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, okay.
I've been, like, tempted by the Xbox version, even though I know it's inferior to our machine. That doesn't make sense, right?
You should do it.
So,
absolutely. You should. If you want to buy this on console, you 100% should.
Well, my other question was, can I just plug a controller into the PC version and I'll actually know what I'm doing?
You absolutely can, and it feels very good. The controller feels fantastic on PC as well.
Because this was my hope with like the Torchlight Steam version or something after the Xbox version came out. I was like, oh, surely this is just in here now. And it's like, no, they had to like redesign the whole game. That's its own like SKU or whatever. You can't just have that. So I was grumpy about it, but eventually I got into the mouse and keyboard business there. But if I can live both worlds, like better graphics and a controller,
and the ability to go to keyboard and mouse if you want to in some parts, and then go, it's on the fly. You can do whatever you want in that when it loads up.
Wow, such luxury. That's the Activision Blizzard promise, is so much money.
To be honest with you, this is one of the first games this year that I felt like, oh, this is a AAA game that I paid $96 Canadian for, and I'm fine with it because this is working flawlessly on my machine and it plays great. Like, this is what AAA should be. Because AAA has been so
the beta bad. Even was pretty deluxe looking sometimes. So
yeah.
What do you mean Redfall, dude? That looked awesome.
I wasn't even talking about Redfall. I was talking about like so many other things. But yeah, that's one of them, I guess.
Okay.
Every game has micro stutter. Why does every game have why can't anybody put out a PC port? Jesus.
I don't know.
Crazy.
We've regressed.
We have
a while, at least a decade, because there was an era there in like 2011 where it's like, man, PC ports are awesome, and then that went away.
Yeah,
so
it really did.
Oh well. All right. So Diablo IV, Lilith is out there wrecking stuff. Of course, everybody in New York City was laughing their asses off at the smoky skies, with the hell stuff.
Yeah,
they're like,
I'm sure they were laughing. Great. And not coughing uncontrollably.
Blizzard lit a forest on fire in Ontario just for this bit. That's so funny.
So I'll say for the listeners, because they might not know if you're joking or whatever. Blizzard actually had to come out and put out a PR thing saying we have no involvement with the forest fires because people are so stupid that some people thought it was in fact a publicity stunt.
That's horrible. That's weird.
People are dumb.
Yeah, obviously there was the jokes of just like, great job, Diablo or whatever. But it's like, no, there wasn't actual eco-terrorism behind this. It was just humans and the climate change and whatever.
It's incredible.
Bernie Sanders has been telling us about this for years, so it's all your fault out there.
Yeah,
especially
no, totally.
You.
The only thing that people remember about Bernie Sanders is that picture of him on a bench, huddled up with a coat and mittens. So,
with the mittens?
Yeah.
Well, there's also his meme where it's like, I'm once again asking you for your support or whatever. So, all the Bernie Sanders classics. But, okay.
Weird handwriting.
Diablo. It's great.
It is great.
What's this other game you've been playing? I don't even know what this is.
So, shout out to Homebody. People need to know about Homebody. The greatest horror game to come out in 2023. That's probably not true. But listen,
Resident Evil 4 remake, get out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck
piece
out.
Of trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I watched the Crowdcat video. You changed all the sounds and the audio. You made it less scary.
You can't look at the panties anymore. The real one. Like, what are you doing?
Ashley just isn't who she used to be. But Homebody, is it a body horror game? It sounds
a little bit. So Homebody, you play a character that is at a cabin or like a house with her friends. They do this every year to watch the star, there's a star shower or whatever that happens, a meteor shower or something like this, right? So
okay.
This is happening.
Shooting
stars, yeah. This is happening on a night that they're getting together, and some of them are acting weird at first when you first get in there, and then at some point something happens and the day resets. So what this game is it's horror Groundhog Day, where you have to find your way through to stop the resetting with a bunch of like weird mysteries and shit that happen in it. It's a lot of puzzles, a lot of escape room type stuff, and it's super cool.
So kind of Twilight Zone horror, or like Happy Death Day where there's a murder man and he's gonna get you, or something like that.
A little bit of both, honestly.
Existential.
It's
okay.
I mean, this isn't really much of a spoiler because you'll pick up on it. Most of the stuff that happens in here is an allegory for either a paranormal world, something or other, maybe some mental illness stuff. In fact, I'll just give a trigger warning, I guess. There is like pretty realistic like mental illness stuff going on in here that could be like, oh, I've recognized people with some of these traits and stuff. Just be careful.
Just know that, I guess.
There's some fucked up shit going on here. I will say this is the most tense I've been in a horror game in a long time playing it.
What's the format? Is it side-scrolling, first-person, third-person ISO? Like
it is a static camera angle, third-person, clock tower-like point and click, where you're moving around an environment, like almost like an adventure game or something.
Or adventure game. Yeah, it does sound like Clock Tower, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
So the thing though is that like because it's Groundhog Day, you know that there's a clock in the right, like that says the time, and you learn that certain things happen at certain times. So there's always this like dread that you have as it's getting closer to the thing, and you're like, I need to make sure this is done, and then this is done, and then that list gets longer. And every time you die, it's not just like a necessarily, oh, you start over again. There's kind of a thing, like a scene that happens of you like maybe regaining some memory, or like a dream thing that happens that's kind of explaining what's going on a little bit. So you're getting bits of story in between deaths, which makes it so I found myself a lot of times after I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I figured out the puzzle. Now I just need to do it tomorrow because I don't have time to do everything I need. Let's go hug the dude that's going to kill me or whatever. Or let's go hug this thing. Or let's go into this room that's going to kill me so that I can get some story and get kind of a clean slate. Like, it's great. The way this is set out is fantastic. I think it's really, really good, and more people need to know about it.
It's kind of Outer Wildsy with that, but I guess that's a different way.
A little bit
how that plays.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it okay? Overused stuff and everything, but you're dying. It's resetting.
Yeah.
Rogue like or not really?
Not at all. because
Returnal-ish.
Okay, roguelite-esque in the fact that you have kind of like a menu of your quote-unquote memories, and what that is basically just like when you see the solution to a puzzle or something that's important, it'll go there so that it's kind of written down for you for the next loop to like make sure that you have that information so you don't have to go see it again.
It's kind of like the 999 or something then, like the nonary games.
Yeah, but like not as like it's a pretty big part of it, I would say, of this game is like you getting that information for the next loop and then like just having it or whatever. So you can do the thing you need to do next time more efficiently and quickly so that you can get a little bit further into it.
I guess since you've said Clock Tower, I'm just imagining like PS1 or whatever, like old looking. What is the
look of it?
Style?
PS2-ish. Yeah.
Okay.
So older, but yeah, it's fun.
Okay. So Homebody, time loop, horror game, Groundhog Day,
lots of puzzles,
Bill Murray jokes, puzzles. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of story and character like talking to each other. A lot of dialogue too. It's very dialogue heavy and reading and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's fantastic.
Not voice acted.
Not voice acted. No.
Okay, so you need to use your imagination.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, that's fine.
I think it's like $20 too, but it's one of those like, it's one of those hidden gems that I think people should try out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's the games we played.
That's the game. So what are some games we could play
in the future?
I guess so.
Well, I can tell you, but I don't want to ruin the whole thing. So Summer Games Fest started today. I watched the big show. Paul hasn't, and he still wants some of that magic. He wants some of the Jeff Keighley magic to be spread around the way it was meant to be seen. So
sure,
I'm gonna vaguely talk about a couple points. I won't bring up everything because I don't want to be a spoiler of gaming excitement. You know, that's just mean.
Okay, I'll ask you just a base question. Is there any one specific thing that you're like, oh, Paul's gonna lose his shit when he sees this thing? Is there one of those, or are they all kind of like, yeah, you'll probably like this, but nothing like crazy?
One thing I don't know. It kind of tied to some of our indie podcasting history in a way I was surprised by. And I don't think it's saying too many crazy spoilery things. It's just Cart Life is coming back.
Oh, we knew that
Richard
already.
Hoffmeyer.
I actually took a moment a few episodes back to just be like, shout out to Richard Hoffmeyer, who's coming back on the scene. And yeah.
I don't know if he is though. I think he's just allowed his game to be ported.
No, he's working with them on it. I've talked with him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, he is not interviewed in this reveal. I thought it was going to be like he had a nervous breakdown and he's done. But if we're going to enshrine his game or whatever.
That dude, actually, like you and I can talk a little bit about him because you have more of a frame of reference. Yeah. When I brought this up, it was I
felt bad because I was like, did we contribute to like overwhelming that guy with like too many people coming out of the woodwork to talk to him? And
yeah, was that our
did in the cave?
Did we signal boost him to millions? Yeah.
No, not that, but just like part of the wave of like over attention or something, you know.
So I've actually been
me from Canada. This is weird.
I've actually been talking with him on and off for the last few years during his like waste end. That dude is one of the most interesting game developers I think out there. He was for a while doing forest fire fighting. He was part of the remember in Portland, there was like a big, I think in Portland, the Midwest, a few years back, maybe 2016 or 17, there was just like a bunch of forest fires. He joined up to like do that stuff. He was a firefighter for a while. That dude has a lot of he was like I don't want to talk too out of key, but I think he was just homeless and a bum for a while by choice. He was just kind of like existing.
Well, he's studying for his next game. Like, how do you better realize Cart Life 2? Now, I don't know. Yeah. It was almost like that game was like a pseudo documentary or something. Like he immersed himself in the street life to like better realize it or something.
Yeah.
That is a depressing video game, but
yeah.
it's weird that it hasn't been around for a while. So it's cool. It's back.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I was so happy to hear that he's back doing. He's working with people. It's not just solo.
They had someone from like the team that's porting it talking about it instead. So I was like, oh, are we gonna see Richard Hoffmeyer? And it's like, no, he's not gonna be. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, this one is 2 known quantities. I was just dismayed as like a big Alan Wake fan that game comes out the exact same week as Spider-Man 2. Which is just like, dude, you're gonna bulldoze my thing. Please don't. You know? Like I can't fault the kids for being more excited about the Spider-Man, but man, that really sucks.
It really does.
I hope they can coexist. They're very different. They're very different things, but I don't know. Like, yeah, this late October rush is gonna happen, and I know what's gonna win that fight. So
me too.
Yeah, poor Alan Wake.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely Spider-Man for me too, because like I'm waiting with bated breath for Spider-Man, but also Alan Wake 2 looks really scary in a way that Alan Wake 1 wasn't, and it's hilarious to me because Sean is scared now because he knows he's gonna want to play that game, but he doesn't do horror, so he's been nervous about how bad it might be.
No, Sam Lake was there, and he said like this is our first survival horror game, and I was like, I mean, I guess like Alan Wake 1 was kind of that, but I guess they're like, no, that wasn't anything.
Right.
This is going to be way more gnarly. It's like, all right. I couldn't quite tell from the footage. I feel like they're still aiming for a teen rating, but I don't know that.
Sure.
You know, like it was just how this one enemy was getting shot up and stuff. Like he's still kind of a shadow man, but then there was like damage decals on him, so it's like I don't know. How is the ESRB going to feel about that?
Sure.
But I guess we'll find out. Okay, and this is more just a general observation from the gauntlet of trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
There are so many medieval action games coming out, like
Weird.
magic and swords and like big shields and helmets. And I was like, what? Is there like some sort of gold rush because of FromSoft? Like who signaled that this was the thing? It's like there's a glut now of just everybody's got some spin on big maces and axes and swords, and I was like, this is like 3 too many now. This is too many. But
wow.
I guess if you watch the show, just see how you feel about that. I felt there was at least like 5 high profile games that were like short swords and shields. That guy's got a big helmet. Like just I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah. And finally, Day of the Devs, they announced the Indie Mega Booth is coming back to PAXs and stuff like that, which I guess it was gone during the COVID times. So
that makes sense.
You know, when we were going to those shows frequently, that was like a big staple of, you know, they shouted out some like favorites of years past, including Papers, Please. I was like, oh yeah, I was there. I got my passport. Yeah. So
another guy we talked to.
Anyway.
It's weird how many prominent indie devs we actually were able to talk to at some point.
That's true. Yeah, in hindsight, and you maintain better contact with some of those people, right?
Yeah, I met up with Lucas Pope in Japan when I went, and we had dinner together and hung out for a bit.
There you go.
It was the first time I got exactly what I wanted because he can speak Japanese and I can't.
Yeah, I got like some orange soda or something instead of orange juice.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's fine. That's fine. I'll drink it.
You just have to be okay with it.
I walked up to you and just assumed you would know for some reason. I'm really sorry. So, okay, this is another one where it's like this cat's out of the bag, like the Dead by Daylight Nicolas Cage thing.
Yeah,
that is known. The thing that was exciting about it is the man himself was there talking about it.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I feel like Dead by Daylight kind of did it dirty because then they show this gameplay footage and it looks so stiff and bad. It's just like after the hype of having him there, and then it's just like, did he do dialogue for the game? Like you see a character model of him just kind of stone faced running around doing stuff, but there's no zip to it. I don't know. thought it was a little bit of a shame, but it was neat seeing him walk out and be all excited about video games for a minute. So whatever.
Sure.
And whatever. I don't know. There's one thing on here that might butter your bread a little bit that you might think is really cool. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
Okay.
But I'll keep that as a little secret, like Jeff Keighley can lay on you when you watch it. So
okay.
Yeah.
Can I
that's the
send you a text or something and be like, "Yep, that was dope" when I see it or something?
Yeah,
I'll confirm.
If something makes you feel like that was dope, text me what it was, and then I'll see if my guess is any good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There's a lot more Summer's Game Fest shit coming too. You're just talking about the first day stuff.
I'm just talking about kind of the big 2-hour press conference-y type thing. Yeah, E3-esque, I guess, in its format.
Key 3.
But yeah. But then with ads, just like, hey, the Samsung TV can play Halo. What? And then
oh shit.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't even need a console. It's like, all right. I don't have a Samsung TV, but cool. Anyway.
Yeah. Are you gonna watch the other stuff?
I might. Yeah, it was a fun. Hey, there's no electronic expo of any other kind this year.
Yeah.
And decade plus of having an appetite for that stuff. So 20 years, I think, really, since I started paying attention. So yeah, I'll probably look at that. Oh, Mortal Kombat was there.
Nice.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
I can't real wait for smooth that. Animation and yeah. But okay, Summer Games Fest. That's all I'm gonna spoil because life is meant to be full of surprises. So
yeah, like Bear.
Jeff's been playing this show for a long time, and he's all excited about it. So
probably a few months.
I'll let him.
Yeah. There was no other news. Weirdly, well, there was, but it was just random stuff that's not very important. I think next week is gonna be ridiculous for news.
Well, it'll be the aftermath of all of that stuff.
All of it.
And, yeah. Oh, man, there's even more questions than when I looked at this last. Oh, you caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I was doing notes and things. I was trying to prepare. Gauntlet of big questions this week. So if you want to send in a question, send that email over to the top-down perspective email, which Paul knows by heart.
It's topdownperspective@gmail.com. You can send it at TDP Podcast on Twitter. You can put it in the Discord channel if you're part of the Discord, which you should be, or you can send in something manually to John's P.O. Box. Did you hear about what we got in his P.O. Box last week?
No.
So
I don't know.
A few weeks back, a weird question came out of nowhere that's just like, would you put a sticker of one of your co-hosts on your console or whatever, like a faceplate? For money or whatever. And the others were like, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. I was like, fuck yeah, I don't give a shit about my console. For money, I'll do that for sure. Somebody sent in a sticker picture of Sean on a motorbike and $100 bill. So I gotta do that now.
Our 100, Borden or whatever?
Yeah.
Canadian?
Yeah, Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna do that. Trying to call my bluff.
How big is the sticker?
It's going to take up the whole back of the Switch, specifically.
It's a circle in my brain. Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I'll pose that question to you first. Would you put a sticker of me, John, or Sean on your Switch for $100?
Oh, man. I that's such an odd, do they get to choose the console? Because it's I have a bunch of consoles. I could just throw it. I'm looking at PS3 right now.
I guess they would get to.
Count?
I guess they would get to.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it was Switch specifically. I don't remember the question. It might have been Switch specifically because handheld mode.
If it's Switch specifically, I can't make that promise because it's basically Brittany's playing it all the time. I don't want her to have to deal with that. So in this conditions, no, I would say no. I can't. Okay. I apologize.
That's fair.
Everybody whose face could be on a sticker. Plus, in my brain, it was like a pog-sized little circle. And it's like, oh, sure, that's fun.
No, it's a picture that's going to take up the whole back of the Switch, like a faceplate.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass. I'm sorry.
That's kind of great though, right? Like that's kind of hilarious.
It's kind of great. Sure.
I
hope it doesn't impact its ability to go into the dock or anything, but that should be fine.
It should be fine. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Anyways,
you'll
yes.
just see how it's wearing down the sticker as you put it in and whatnot.
Oh yeah, if it's just gonna, there's just gonna be like a weird streak against Sean's face or something, like
something. Yeah, you got to be careful with your. Maybe put like a transparent coating over it to keep it preserved.
Yeah, just to keep it forever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it might not be a bad idea. All right, let's start questions off with a question from Ihiave Server. I think that's how you say his name. I remember they've told me before how to.
I didn't see this question before I saw it. This one's shooting from the hip.
Yeah, so from Ihiave, what are some of your proudest feats related to games? Could be something you did in a game, something you did in real life involving a cartridge. It could be anything. It could even be a boat. Nice little joke callback there.
Is that like game boat? Is that alluding to the famous game boat?
No, it's
accessory.
It's the that Family Guy quote of do you want the boat or the box? The boat's a boat, but the box could be anything. It could even be a boat or whatever. Yeah, it's that. Okay. Yeah. Classic.
I got you. Okay. What are some of your proud? Okay, the first thing that came to mind isn't even that great or anything. It was just the circumstances. I was fighting the Nameless King in Dark Souls 3, and it was a real close one. Like, it was like one hit would kill me, and he still had a lot left, and I was able to just parry things and not get hit for a weird amount of time. So I was like, dude, that I couldn't do that again if I wanted to. Like, that was really fortuitous, but I was happy to drop that guy. So I did kind of the Michael Jordan like jump, and that shot he hit in Cleveland, and then he did the big thing. I did that with nobody around by myself.
I thought you were gonna say, that shot he did in Space Jam where his arm stretched across the thing.
Yeah, that was the one. It's a dunk shot. They used to call it that, but yeah, my arm stretched. No, just the big jump celebration. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
Because it was low percentage odds of that happening.
Sure.
Getting a cartridge to what? Anyway, I don't know. What comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I don't know. There's probably something like that where you just like clutch something out. Like, there's been a few times where you're the last dude on your team and Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six Siege or something, and you like kill the rest of the team. Like, shit like that is pretty
There's
good.
definitely like fleeting moments of Counter-Strike where you came through or something, but then so many more where you don't.
Totally.
So I'm trying to... It's like, oh man, I got that guy with the deagle in Office or whatever, and actually we won, but then there was the 37 other times where a guy knifed me or something, so...
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's Counter-Strike Source, to be clear. I'm old, and I don't like Go is too fast.
Way
and
too
2
fast.
just came out. I don't know. Yeah.
I
don't have any great cartridge. Like I blew in a cartridge and it worked first time. That's sure. Boom. Yeah.
Hitting like a minor goal in speedrunning a game is super satisfying. Like, one of the first ones was I want to be able to beat Resident Evil 1 in less than 55 minutes or something like that. So, like, hitting that was good. Trying to catch up to Homer, I'm 3D Homer, in that stupid Spider-Man game on SNES to kind of, like, be the other person that speedruns that. And getting, like, sub 18 minutes in that was, like... Okay, there we go. A nice second place that I'm probably never going to bother going back to try to get gold.
Like, that's a respectable time kind of thing?
Yeah, because, like, it's only me, him, and, like, one other person, but that one other person had, like, an 18-minute or something like that, and I was at, like, 22 minutes, and I was like, I can't let this rando be the one that's, like, not... Like, we have to be owning the top of the board for this game, so...
Okay. I gotta cut 4 minutes out of this.
Making sure that I
okay.
could do DuckTales on the NES in under 8 minutes was enough. Like, when I look at the boards and seeing like what is a respectable time, even if it's like 100 down because so many people run it, just being able to hit that kind of like minimum is always really satisfying. Of like, okay, I'm part of like the crowd of people that can beat the game in the time limit that you should be able to beat the game and to be on here.
Oh man, you've actually stirred a memory of like I got weirdly competitive about the Pooyan leaderboards in Game Room. I was
sure.
like,
That's another one.
I got top 3 or whatever. Like I was playing Pooyan with no music. Like it was a horrible port, just over and over again to try to climb up to that board.
You did play a lot of Pooyan, I remember.
I think it got to a point where like if I sit down and play Pooyan, it takes like half an hour. Which is good money value at an arcade or something, but it really annoyed that guy in Osaka. He was like, "We're closing. You got to get out of here." It's like, dude, man, all right.
Was it you that got weirdly into the Popeye game for a while too?
I like the Popeye game, but I think that's because I grew up with it. I didn't get way into it, so that might be somebody else. I grew up with a port of that game though, so that's weird that you bring it up, but. You know, it's Nintendo. They were going to do. They had big Popeye plans. So yeah.
Have you ever considered or wanted to speedrun something? Like legitimately sit down with for a weekend and see how fast you could get yourself?
Oh man, there was like a brief period where I was watching like Far Cry 2 runs and thinking those were really cool.
Okay.
And it's like I like this game. I could play this game, and it's like no, I'm suck at this.
There's a stupid amount of RNG in a Far Cry 2 run. It's crazy.
There's some weird stuff, but this guy had some great I'm just gonna get what is that mortar cannon or something from like way far away, just really weird easy solves to certain missions or whatever.
Right.
It's like, why is he going up there? It's like, oh, you can just kill this guy from here if you just like look at this tree and aim up at this angle or something. It's all right, whatever. This guy's got it down. So yeah, I just tipped my hat to that guy. And then briefly, when like glitch run stuff for Mario 64 came out, I like videotaped myself trying to get 16 or whatever and glitch through the door and everything.
Oh, really? Okay. I also have a 16-star run and learned that run. Learning the 16-star route in Mario 64 made me actually like that game because I've always fucking hated Mario 64. But like learning it has forced me to interact with the mechanics for that game and learn them to a point where I can play it now properly.
Yeah, I think 3D All-Stars coming out kind of made me go like, oh, this is kind of dope. Like I got all 120 or whatever. I was playing it again on the kind of expansion pass or whatever.
Right.
It's pretty good. Like people weren't crazy 27 years ago when they were really excited about that game.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, should I read this next one? It's a big one.
Yeah.
It's huge. Like you better write down some answers. This is a big one. Rasterman7 writes in, you are tasked to choose 5 to 10 video game genres and recommend a game from them that would serve as a good enough introduction for someone who isn't familiar with it or video games in general. It's a bit of a thought exercise. What are your choices? For example, Super Mario World for 2D platformers, Hitman for stealth, Astro's Playroom for 3D, etc.
Okay.
Bonus, try to think now of games that would scare people away instead, like a bad example. You know, like this is a hard intro course. Okay. You can keep your genre choices if you want. There's so many genres. I wrote down like 8. And
you wrote down here, 8? But okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, do we need to write down a bunch? Here, why don't we do this? Whoever's listening live in the Twitch chat right now, throw out like 2. Like just
two genres.
Everybody throw out a genre, and I'll pick 2 of them from there, and then we'll go with your 8 as well.
Okay.
And then we'll have the 10. Okay, so what's your first one?
Some of these hopefully will just prompt discussions. Okay. So action game, my like maybe everybody could enjoy it, maybe, but I wasn't sure, was Control because I really like it.
So
it's a bit daunting.
Action's pretty broad. Like, do we want to pare that down to something more specific, or is that?
In my head, this was kind of third-person action.
Third-person action.
Because my counter example, my like too tough to enjoy, is Dead Rising. It's not a good intro to third-person action excitement because of the time limits and the weird quality of life stuff that wasn't there. But yeah.
Phantom Ages
Control,
also
I'm not
said
sure about
third-person
just 'cause,
shooter, so that's kind of the same, I would say.
Yeah, kind of. I would say Dead Rising's more melee, but it has shooting in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. Control, I just really, really enjoyed when I replayed it, like in the last year. So I'd like more people to experience it, but I found the combat annoying until I was just using telekinesis to kill everything, and then it was way easier. So that would just be with that addendum of just like, don't shoot stuff, throw stuff, and then you'll have a good time. But
sure.
Anyway.
Control's not a bad choice. How do we feel about like one of the Batman games? Like Arkham something.
Yeah.
Arkham Asylum, probably, specifically.
That's the thing, yeah. I wonder if Asylum is still the most, like, limited, but that helps you focus on what's good about it kind of thing. It doesn't sprawl out. Because, like, once it got to, like, open world games, people seem to not like those. Like, there's a percentage of people are just like, oh, it's an open world game. There's too many choices. I don't like it. Whereas Arkham Asylum is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Although I haven't played it in a long time, I hope it holds up. It was fun then.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a long time either. Okay.
And that Killer Croc part wasn't that bad. Like, it was okay.
Of course it wasn't. It was fine.
Like, come on.
Okay, what's your next one?
Next genre I wrote down is platformer. And I wrote down Mario Brothers 3 as a good, solid one for that.
Can I split this and say 2D platformer and 3D for another genre? Can we split that?
Yeah, I mean, Astro's Playroom was the 3D. I just didn't have a great 3D platforming example.
Okay,
so
we'll just say platformer then. So, yeah, it's a Mario game. 100% it is. That's what they do. That's their thing.
I mean, yeah, Rasterman already said Mario World, which is probably a really great answer. Mario Maker 2, I was thinking about because it has all sorts of stuff in it, but you could get some really crappy stuff too. So it's not as polished and experienced.
What if we talk about a world where Mario doesn't exist? Like, that seems like an easy answer. Let's just strike that. What's a platform? Or all the person that
Mario
we're saying
didn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Oh man, I might pivot all the way over to like Super Metroid at that point.
For platforming? Okay.
Because it's got a lot of platforming in it, and it's still really good. Whereas I just don't like the way, say, a Sonic jumps and runs. Too fast, too jittery. You know, I'm not on speed. I can't keep up with him. So I'm just falling into the water over and over, and it's going, and then he drowns, and I just feel bad. So that's kind of... I'm trying to think of other... Or, like, platformers that I can... Like, you were saying DuckTales. Like, there was a Disney era that had, like, really good games, but when I tried to go back as an adult and play, like, Mickey's Magical Quest or something, I was like, holy crap, this game is so hard. Was this an arcade game? Are they trying to steal money from children? Like, what is this?
Yeah,
Cuphead is easy compared to this. Like, it was so weird.
Yeah, they're pretty bad that way.
Yeah.
How do we feel about a Donkey Kong game as a platformer choice? Are
the country games?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, we could include... I'd never played Tropical Freeze, but, like, we could include those other ones.
I went back to those... Like, I didn't play them a bunch in their day, and it's, like, part of the Super Nintendo kind of expansion pass or whatever, like, the online thing.
Yeah.
I thought 1 was weirdly hard, and 2 was fun. Like, I would just skip to Diddy's Conquest or something if you're going to do that. But I'm not an expert. I'm just, like, bad at Donkey Kong games.
Okay.
I've heard the new ones are pretty hard too, so I don't know.
I'm
trying to think who's like a stellar platforming person that isn't Italian and doesn't have a hat or anything. Like Rayman, you know?
Oh, Rayman. Don't those games get weirdly difficult? I'm thinking Origins specifically. I guess I don't remember.
Origins has like special challenges that are very crackerjack timing and stuff, but if you just want to get to the end of the stage, they're pretty straightforward, I think. But if you want to collect everything and be the best, it's gonna bop you around a little bit.
Here's gonna be a contentious idea. What about Super Meat Boy?
I actually had Super Meat Boy as my welcome to the big leagues, yo, and then
is that a genre that you chose?
Harsh interaction or harsh introduction or whatever. Where it's just like, what is going on? And it's like, yeah, this game's a little advanced or something, but maybe relative to everything ever, it's not. Like, I want to be the guy or whatever. But yeah.
Okay, let's just
Aiden
jump to
Hawk
that.
And the 1,000 spikes, you know.
Let's just jump to that genre then. So what's it called? Welcome to the big leagues?
I was just saying that as a platforming example, but tough stuff, I guess. Like Maso Core, as it was known.
Is that one of the genres you wrote down, though?
That is not one of the genres I wrote down.
Then forget it.
Into a tangent.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Celeste would probably be the answer, because it has so many things you can turn off.
Totally. Yeah, no. Celeste is actually the answer if you go that route. Like, if in a world that's not Mario, it's Celeste, probably. Yeah.
Whereas my pride, like, wouldn't let me turn on the accessibility stuff. I was like, no, I'm good at games. And then I was just having an angry time.
It's the same that, like, when there's something weirdly unfair in Mario and it gives you the choice to get, like, the super suit, and you're just like, fuck off.
Luigi can help you out. You can wear this hat. And it's like, no, I'm good at this. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, I just screwed up. Leave me alone.
What do you feel about
RPG
Braid?
Is what I had next.
How about Braid for a weird platformer that is more about you thinking through?
It's really puzzly.
Yeah, it's more puzzly than platformy, is your thinking?
It's sort of tipping its hat to Mario stuff, though. Doesn't it start with like a 1-1 reference?
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been a long
Pretty sure there's
time.
just a little guy. I think it's like there's a Goomba stand-in, then you jump on him, and then you rewind. What? Mario couldn't do that. Limbo? I don't know. Let's move on from platforming.
Okay, yeah.
To talk about JRPGs. And by RPGs, I just mean not action RPGs.
Yeah, like turn-based, Japanese-style RPGs, Square Enix-style sort of thing from back in the day. Yeah, I got you.
So I know this is a spicy fandom.
Okay.
Actually, what's your first thought?
No, no, you can't do that after saying spicy.
I was like, hey, it's only 5 hours. It's really good. It's nice and simple. Undertale?
Undertale is one of the best games ever made. Honestly, it is. And if you disagree, you're just wrong.
It's kind of like an Earthbound, but it's like streamlined and there's no crap, you know? I keep trying to play Earthbound and it's just like, no, what are you doing? You have to go back and go to sleep. And then you can go look at the meteor. And it's like, what? Why? Yeah. Like, shut up. Although I've heard Live Alive is good at fixing that kind of stuff, like tells you what's going on, you know? Because it's based on an old thing. But anyway, so yeah, I said Undertale, and then I know this isn't actually like I felt like this one was just so in the otaku nerd weeds that it was Persona. Like, I don't think you can start with Persona because it's too nerdy.
Yeah, no,
I don't think so either. It's like being cheeky about the genre, and it has a bunch of characters that might rub you the wrong way if you don't love anime and all of its problems. You know, like, oh, here's this character that's just gonna be dumb. Yeah, that's part of it. That's why we're here, you know.
So the like actual answer to this, and it's such a dumb answer because of course it's Mario again. It's Mario RPG. That's what a lot of kids started off with.
It's really good. I think it got to the point where I played that game too much that I like experienced deja vu when playing it, and it's like I can't. Like, I'm looking forward to parts that are later, and I have to go through this now and that. But if you've never played it, it's really fun. Like, one time for sure.
I have a bad association with that game, so I mean, I just disagree based on that.
I know that cake and everything. It's just
I'm surprised you remember. For people that don't know, there's a podcast you should go listen to, and it's not safe for work.
It's in the archives.
It's not safe for work, maybe. Don't share it with anyone.
But okay, adventure game I have, which I was thinking like classic kind of solving puzzles, graphic adventure, text and talking jokes and stuff. Okay. So I kind of had just two sides of the Tim Schafer coin. My favorite and one I think is still accessible is Day of the Tentacle.
That's
one
mine.
I think is too deep into like adventure game logic and how that works and weird kind of cumbersome UI and stuff is Grim Fandango, which I do like.
Okay.
But there are just like weird puzzles in that game that are not really intuitive. I feel Day of the Tentacle has like one of those, and Grim Fandango has like 5. Where it's just like, what is this? What are you telling me to do? And it's just like, yeah, it's a puzzle. Like I had to look up stuff several times to navigate that one. It's a great game in a lot of respects, but I don't think it's a good introduction. That's like once you have an appetite for that kind of stuff, you can have that thing and have the right patience for it, I guess.
My
yeah.
My answer is probably Stray from last year, for just like an adventure game where you're going around and exploring a world essentially.
Yeah.
And more your style or closer to Night in the Woods probably. It's like not really as
I played Night in the Woods.
It's pretty accessible. Yeah. It got really big for the reason that it had some of those things that adventure games do that's like a little more streamlined and basic.
Does it have like a crazy number of endings and stuff? Because like
maybe.
I didn't feel like my conclusion was really that satisfying. But then it's like, oh, maybe you just shouldn't have said that to that guy or whatever. It's like I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, whatever. Right. I didn't think that game was that good personally. I didn't love it, but I think it's probably like a good starting point for that feel of game.
Sure. Fighting is what I have next, which is not my area of expertise.
Fighting game?
I will say. But Soul Calibur of some measure as an easy one to get into.
Street Fighter 6 right now is probably one of the best ones to get into because of how they streamlined the ability to do combos and stuff with single button pushes so that people that don't play these games can play them.
It's like the Evo controls or whatever. It's like
where you like hold a direction and then push a button to do a thing rather than having to learn how to actually like input and stuff.
Do a dragon punch.
And so then people that like know how to play fighting games and people that are brand new to them can kind of be on a similar like mechanical feel playing foot as each other.
Yeah, I guess I'm always just thinking of single player stuff. I don't actually play against anybody ever. So it's like, oh, you don't need a zeitgeist of people playing it or anything. Just quietly play Soul Calibur on Dreamcast by yourself.
Okay, if we're talking that, Mortal Kombat 9, probably. I still think that's like one of the top standards of Mortal Kombat games. I still love it.
Yeah, I didn't play 11. I played 10.
I didn't play 11
wasn't as
either.
into it as 9.
10 was good also, but it wasn't as good as 9. I agree with you.
Yeah. My bad introduction one was one I tried to get into when I was a young man. Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. Like, oh yeah, this looks sick. And it's so technical and strange, and each character is so different. I had an okay time trying to be a drunken master or whatever, but it just felt like I didn't scratch the surface of what you can do. Yeah.
All of the Virtua Fighter games are a little like you kind of already need to be in probably to pick those up.
Yeah,
because they're not particularly.
So don't pick that one up first.
They're not particularly flashy. They don't like. Yeah, they're weirdly technical, like you said. There's just that's fighting game fans fighting games. I feel anyway. Another one is Dragon Ball FighterZ might actually be the right choice because I've known a lot of people that don't play fighting games that played the shit out of that game.
Okay. First person shooter.
Okay. Good introduction to first person shooter. Gone Home.
Actually, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, you could just navigate a 3D space in first person. And not really worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a better example than what I wrote down, which was BioShock, first one. That was based mostly on my wife Brittany trying to enjoy that game because she was so intrigued by the worlds and like the setting and stuff. But then at some point it became too, this guy keeps murdering me. I'm just trying to enjoy things. So it might be a bad example. It might not actually be the one.
That's also like, I don't know. It's such a like trite thing to say or whatever at this point. I definitely feel that game is does the horror atmosphere thing better than it does like the shooting necessarily as well. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I
There's a
don't know.
middle ground there.
Halo of some measure.
I kind of was thinking Halo as well. I guess like
big floaty jumps, and it's good at kind of
shields,
like stuff that's threatening looks dangerous, and kind of thing. It's good at signaling that kind of stuff.
It's like childlike enough that like it doesn't feel like you're murdering human beings for people that like want to play a shooter where they don't feel like they're murdering.
Oh yeah,
it's
just weird, goofy aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's Fear 3 is what I had as like don't start here. Don't start with that one.
Just like another opportunity to say that on my YouTube specifically, there's a video of us playing through that game together. So if you want to watch that, you could. That game is bad. Yeah.
I wish it wasn't, but yeah, it's kind of bad. One wild card that's like technically a first person shooter and it plays differently enough that I thought maybe it would be an interesting, like slow and distinct enough thing is Super Hot. But I don't know that'll teach you anything you need to know to play other shooters. It's just kind of its own rules.
The thing is that if like you need to play, if you're wanting to play a shooter that kind of teaches you about shooters, you should probably start where everybody started with Doom or something, like, and then work your way around from there. Just
Wolfenstein 3D, it's a good one.
Because those games are like the originals, not like Z-Doom or anything like that. You can't aim up or down. You just kind of get used to moving in space and shooting at things that are kind of in front of you. So, like, it slowly is kind of the baseline of a shooter, and you can work your way up from there. Because aiming, especially with a controller or whatever, is harder than, like, you would think for people that don't play games. Looking around and stuff in a 3D environment.
Yeah. There's a lot of auto-aim stuff kind of helping you, but... Yeah. Okay. Sports. Which is something we're intimately familiar with, sports video games. Track and field, I guess, or
like an easy baseline.
Easy baseline, yeah.
All like Sega or SNES hockey games were kind of my thing, where you just you move around with the D-pad and push a button to pass and push a button to shoot.
That was pretty simple, yeah. Mine was NHL PA 93.
Okay.
And it has a nice glitch where you skate behind the net and the goalie will get stuck, and then you just score.
Right.
It's like what Gretzky was able to do. That's how he got 200 points.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably a better example. I wrote down an even older game, Basket Brawl, which is an Atari thing. It was in Atari 50 where I was excited about it because you don't play defense. You just punch that guy, and then you take the basketball again, and then you dunk it or something. So it's intuitive, like you're just like, I gotta stop that guy, Bob, instead of trying to steal it or whatever.
Sure.
Bad introduction I had, which is the first thing I wrote down, but it was like, no, it's a terrible introduction, is the NBA 2K games, which you just need to know basketball to even try to play it. It's weird. Like, watch 100 hours of basketball, and then you can play this video game.
So,
and you'll at least know what it wants you to do.
I actually didn't really know that, because like I don't look in those games and I don't watch basketball. Is that, in your, I guess, expert opinion, do you think that's maybe why people that really like sports gravitate to those games? Is because it's like, oh, this is like so granular to the thing that I love that, of course, like I'm already in here. Like, I know
it kind of accents the season experience or whatever. It's just like, well, my team lost tonight, but I'm gonna play and I'm gonna win. Like, it has a dumb like fantasy sports thing going on.
This makes way more sense to me now.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah. They also put story modes in those, and they've been okay. It's weird. They'll just get like Idris Elba or somebody to be your coach or something, and it's like, oh, you gotta try harder than that if you're gonna make it in this league. It's like, all right, I guess.
Right.
You're gonna end up in China, and then you do in one of them, and then you have to impress people there. And then
if you don't, you get thrown in the gulag. Yeah.
Yeah.
China.
Oh yeah, they don't touch on that.
They don't fuck
But there is like an arcade version of like NBA 2K1 or something. It's weird. But anyway, racing is up next.
Okay. Probably Burnout Paradise or Forza Horizon something or other. Just something a little more arcadey with like some real life. I like kind of a real life feel on my racing game.
I went full arcadey and just went Mario Kart 8. Just play that.
Oh, okay.
It's fun.
Sure.
It's fun.
Those are fine.
It's kind of different. Kart racing is almost a different thing.
I didn't even consider
my bad example
kart.
was Diddy Kong Racing, which I enjoy, but don't go back. You know, it's okay.
Yeah.
There's airplanes in it and hovercraft, but it was we were born in the late 80s. This was fun back then, kind of thing.
Sure.
Don't worry about it. Whiz Pig. So yeah. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of like is Gran Turismo accessible? No. Like I remember 3 broke big because it was packed with stuff and a lot of people played it, but I don't know if it ever hit that again with like mainstream appeal. I know the movie's coming out, but
I don't think it's accessible
that stresses
because
how dangerous it really is.
In those games, you have to actually get driver's licenses to get more cars. So
yeah. I have fond memories of like Dirt 2, but I don't know if it holds up really, you know.
Kart racers are a good answer. Yeah, I just didn't consider them. Yeah.
Okay. I think the last genre I have here is one you're more familiar with than I am. Survival horror games.
Yeah.
What's a good place to start, you know, for Sean's benefit even? Like
Resident Evil 4, the original.
Out. Okay.
As like
it's more action centric kind of thing.
I mean, everybody knows that like it's one of my lesser favorite Resident Evil games, but there's a reason why it's so fucking popular and came out on literally every platform because it's super easily accessible. It's not too scary. It's definitely more action-y or whatever. It has the It has the what do you buy in it, which is pretty good. It has panties.
It does. Does it? Like, was that a thing everybody was doing? I guess. Is it when she hops into a dumpster or something?
No, it's specifically in a few times where you jump down a ladder and you have to catch her and you can like look up at her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Hey, it's Capcom, you know, like 20 years ago.
That's probably the answer though.
But okay. What's a horrible introduction?
Resident Evil 1.
I said Amnesia Dark Descent.
Resident Evil 1.
Okay. Resident Evil 1 is too cumbersome to... Even the GameCube version? Because that was kind of my introduction.
Like the remake?
Yeah.
The remake is better about it because they have alternate modes of movement. I'm talking about the first one, tank only, weird, just bullshit that you have to deal with and how the monsters work. There's no, like... If you knock a zombie off of you and there's another one there, you can just be comboed infinitely until you die because they don't bump into each other. There's no collision between them. It has a lot of things that are just like, this is the first game bad that I can overlook because I'm a veteran, but like most people probably can't or shouldn't.
All right, now hear me out. There's a big movie coming out, you know, huge franchise. Chuck E. Cheese was a big thing, right? So there's this parody of it. It's about like Freddy's,
Willy's
Pizza
Wonderland.
Hut or something.
Yeah. I know. I've seen
Willy's Wonderland. It's a lot like that movie. But it's this. You have to spend 5 nights at Frederick's house. Is that an accessible game? Because it blew up big for kids.
It is.
Kids can play it. It's really simple interface and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it at all because that thing yells at you.
Yep.
But you know, for those that can handle that, it's pretty easy to follow. The one I wrote down, I don't know if it's a good answer or the worst answer. I wrote down Soma because I like that game a lot and has a great story that might hook you in enough to not worry about the horror, but maybe it'll scare you and you'll hate it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I couldn't finish that game by myself, because that being underwater sort of thing
deep sea
triggers a fight or flight instinct in me where I just like am super stressed doing it. I can't do it. So
okay, so maybe a bad introduction then is basically anything those guys make. The Amnesia people don't start with that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit biased against them because I don't particularly think there's any class to a game where you're just being chased or have no way to fight back, and you have to kind of stealth around. I like the ability to fight back somewhat, even though like the odds might be against you.
So the best of both worlds really is Dark Corners of the Earth, Call of Cthulhu, for the original Xbox. Get a copy of that.
That game is fantastic,
good
but it's
introduction.
broken. It's not a good introduction, but it's good.
Give that as a gift to your grandma. You know, she'll get way into it. It's quality stuff. No, it's a cumbersome old game, but I liked it 18 years ago. But anyway,
how did you feel about the Condemned
That's
games?
all the genres. I like the Condemned games. They're kind of more first-person melee action is why I enjoy them. And then I'm so engrossed in that, I don't actually usually think about how scary they are. 2 had some great set pieces, though, like the weird dolls and bombs and things.
They have, like, cool detective things going on in them, too, where you're solving a mystery. They're cool. They're cool games, actually. I like them.
Yeah, the first one was early in my like achievement lust, so I almost ruined myself for that game looking for like dead ravens or whatever it was.
Oh,
just like, gotta go through this level again and look for the thing, and it's sort of like the thermoses in Alan Wake or something, just kind of not helping the experience. But anyway, those are the genres I wrote down. There's obviously so many other genres, fused genres, twists and things, but I feel that's a sampling.
That's a good one. Metroidvania was brought up. Let's just listen, I love Hollow Knight. I think it's one of my favorite games ever made. Super Metroid's the answer. Like, there's a reason why that game is
Do you think it's still the answer?
Yeah.
You
Super
don't think
Metroid,
it has kind of crusty old logic to it kind of thing?
Nah. Not as bad as the other Metroids before it by any stretch. Those
I'm saying like Zeo Drifter, you know? That was just a simple little game. I don't know. I found it charming, but you fight the same boss over and over and stuff. Yeah. So no, not really. How
do you feel about Ori and
not a Castlevania, you don't think? They're too cumbersome?
I mean, the Castlevania games I like aren't the Metroidvania ones. They're the Castlevania. Like, they're not the like Symphony of the Nights or Aria. Aria is probably one of the better ones. I like you're going through stages to fight a boss and then killing Dracula in the end, sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Ori games?
Yeah, Super Metroid's still great, but Ori, I actually never played Ori of any shape. I heard they were kind of Meat Boy challenging in how they're designed.
I think they're kind of easy, but like, I don't know. It's hard. I play video games, so like, I'm not kind of a normal person that like most of the people that are normal people like don't play as many games, right? So like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think Ori. What about Dust and Elysian Tale? That was pretty.
I was
accessible.
thinking about. I never finished that game though. So I wasn't as pulled into it. I was thinking of like Metroid Zero Mission, where it's kind of the simplicity of the original game, but then kind of spiffed up to be more like Super Metroid.
Okay.
But it's sort of adjacent. It's similar. I feel it's just it's like a decade later, so they could think a little more about messaging to the player and stuff.
Did you play Yoku's Island Express?
No.
Okay.
I didn't.
That's pinball. So that might be the most accessible, but nobody talks about that one. So I don't know. What's the least or the like you should not play this as your first outing?
Oh, is your first Metroidvania?
Yeah. I kind of feel like Metroid 2.
I did play through Metroid 2 back. It's so crusty and old.
Yeah.
If you're not up for that, I did appreciate how big Samus's sprite is on a Game Boy screen. It's kind of weird. She's like a third of the screen. And I like the simplicity of it of just hunt down X number of Metroids. That's kind of fun. But no, don't start there. Yeah, don't start there, I guess would be fair to say. Metroid 2 Return of Samus, it was great for what it was, but
I love that game.
Yeah,
I really like it.
Don't start there.
Yeah.
And I said Harmony of Distance just because I always viewed that as the least of the GBA Castlevania games.
Yeah, fair.
But it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Big question from Rasterman. So, next question from Dead. What games would you want a level pack or ROM hack for, which currently don't have any sort of official or non-official additional content available? Man, the fact that Mario Maker 2, because you brought it up earlier, doesn't have more content on it is fucking infuriating. That could have been a platform for every, like, 3 months. They could have put out a thing where they're like, we added this sprite and, like, a new song or something, and I would have bought that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of tools in there for people to make weird stuff, but, like, I played the core story stuff, the 100 levels or whatever, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it was neat to see Nintendo author some weird ideas and have them in there, but
have you played levels with, like,
just kind of
the Link suit or, like, the Mario 2 stuff? Yeah, like, they should be adding more of that shit, like, every year at least.
Somebody actually did their best to recreate the Birdo fight with, like, a cannon and one of those little spiky guys from, like, Mario 3 behind a barrier, so you had to throw cannonballs at him. It was kind of neat. It was neat. Like, okay, you're evoking Mario 2 as best you can with these rules, which is cool. I did not know Link could throw bombs forever, so I was just like, stage sucks. What is this? What am I supposed to do? And it's just like, no, you can blow that up. And it's like,
I gotta shout something out before I forget. GDQ just happened.
Yeah.
There was the Mario Maker race, which is one of the things that I always want to tune in for. I like the Mario. I follow, like, Mario Maker and Mario ROM hack communities online and, like, watch that shit because I fucking love it. I don't know why. It's just the weird shit you can do with, like, a moveset or whatever mechanics that I grew up with. It's just awesome to me. Mario Maker Relay Race happened, and it is fucking amazing what some creators have done with those levels, like for this race specifically. They made a portal level, which is literally like you touch pipes and it automatically shoots you to another part in the level, like a portal. I don't know how they did it. I don't understand how they coded this shit in Mario Maker. So that's super worth watching. I want you specifically to watch that, and I'll find a timestamp for you so you don't have to watch like an hour of a race just for those cool levels. But, like, yeah, it's phenomenal what they've done.
So it's creators have made kind of obstacle racetrack kind of things, or
yeah. So there's two teams of like 4 people, and every death they have to switch the controller to the next person on the team, and whoever gets to the end of like this level, they're playing the same level blind against each other. Whoever gets to the end of it like takes the point essentially, and they do that for a while.
I just thinking on it a bit, I found it a little weird. Like, obviously, a community for Mario Maker is just making stuff, so I don't know if it quite fits because there is a lot of stuff. I don't know that I love the idea of the like weird rules that make the flag appear. You know, like stuff that wasn't anything to do with Mario 3 or Mario World or anything. It's like not a win condition in any of those games, and now it's like, oh, you got to collect 45 coins and then the flag will appear. And it's like, that's just weird. That's not anything that was anything in anything. So I don't love those.
Yeah.
Some of them are kind of clever, but I don't know. It's just when they're straying too far from the rule set established. It's just kind of like, this isn't really a thing that this game used to have. So I don't know. Crusty about that. Crabby about it.
Okay.
As for stuff that needs more stuff, Wario's Woods, you know, there's that one mode where you play against a like lineup of dudes and then it culminates in Wario. I kind of wish there was another batch of guys, you know, like DLC came out, new Mario characters are challenging you to Wario's Woods battles. That's what I want. Really all I want is the Super Nintendo version to be ported to like to be on Switch instead of the NES version, because who would play that? Like the best version exists and you own it. Just put it out. Anyway,
they need to make a Rhythm Heaven where it's a service game that they update every 6 months with a new pack.
Yeah, I could go for more Rhythm Heaven indefinitely for sure. So yeah, that's the only live game I'll support. Actually, they should do that.
That's the only one.
They should make that a thing.
Yeah.
That's the only one. Just cancel the rest of them.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. I guess it's my turn to read. This is Suku. How far can a video game in a series stray from the previous games without it feeling like a betrayal of what it was? Well, I'm trying to think of some high-profile betrayals. Yeah, like there was all the original Fallout fans that were really mad when it was coming out. I feel like, you know, that pivot to first-person style, like I'm okay with it. But I wasn't a fan of those original games, so maybe they strayed too far. I don't know.
They strayed pretty far too with the idea of like making Fallout multiplayer thing too with 76. Like that pissed a lot of people off too.
Yeah. So yeah, Bethesda's kind of, you know, they bought up Fallout and kind of changed its DNA a bit. I'm sure there's still somebody grumpy about that. Like they're just playing Fallout 1 and 2 over and over, just like, man, this was awesome. You know?
Chrono Cross is like nothing like Chrono Trigger, basically. So you can go pretty far in a series idea as long as there's kind of even a loose thread, I think, holding it together.
There were so many characters in that game. I think it got to where I was like, wait, I like didn't need to get that guy in my party. Like I just kind of froze up because it's like you just close the door on so many possibility spaces. It's like what? It's like no, you kind of supposed to play it over and over again. It's like who has time for that?
Yeah.
One, I wish John was here for, because like I don't know what the verdict is on this game at the end of the day. I know how GameSpot felt about it when it came out. They were so insulted that this was a thing anyone did.
Oh.
But Bomberman Act Zero was like seen as such a betrayal of like the cutesy art style of Bomberman, and like, what is this? This isn't even. Why are you edging up Bomberman? But wasn't it kind of good?
Well,
like gameplay wise,
isn't it basically the same? Like it's the same idea, right?
Yeah, it just has like an aggro aesthetic to it, which is funny. I think it would stand out in hindsight as being the funniest Bomberman game. Yeah, because it's just like, what? And it's like, oh, 2007 or whatever. Like we were trying to be cool, but yeah. I wrote down a game I kind of like, but I feel it's pushing right out, like up against the bubble for some people, is WarioWare Get It Together, where it's like the weird kind of character control of the person. And it's like, this isn't really zeroing in on the minigame the way I want it to, but there's still some of that zaniness in it that I was okay, but it wasn't. I don't like where the wind's blowing on that.
That's the more recent one,
I hope they
right?
bring it back. Yeah, that's the Switch one.
Where
it just has this kind of odd idea at the heart of it.
This is not a pro that game podcast. The other two hate that game, but I haven't played it.
I know. Yeah. I don't hate it, but it's definitely like, you guys are on thin ice here with this. This is stretching the fabric of WarioWare to its limit, you know? You should probably rein this back in.
Yeah.
Just make some solid mini games, you know?
Totally.
And one I was kind of wrote down late because I was kind of thinking of like when you wander outside of your genre completely, and I don't know if that's always a great thing or what, because like Sonic ended up in like Sonic the Dark Brotherhood,
right?
And Sonic's Dead, like the comedy game from this year. Are those still fun Sonic games, or do they not really have what you expect from Sonic, or is that good?
The Death of Sonic the Hedgehog has the thing that people that are really into Sonic games expect, and that's just those characters interacting with each other. So, like, that's probably fine for most people. I thought it was a fun little, like, free thing that I did for a couple hours one night.
Just like a fan servicey thing. Is the Big the Cat there with, like, a hat? He's just wearing a hat.
Big the Cat is, if I remember, not there at all in that one.
What the
I know.
Oh, man.
Maybe I'm misremembering,
get back
but
to
I'm
fishing
pretty
mini games. You know, the heart of Sonic. That's really what Sonic's been missing all this time.
Well, I mean, did you play Sonic Frontiers?
No. Is there fishing in it?
Yeah, there's a lot of fishing in it. In fact, there's so much fishing in it that you can actually just get to the end of the game from the stuff you need from fishing it.
Dude, this sounds like my Tears of the Kingdom, Sonic Frontiers. I should play that. That sounds awesome. So, all right. This Link's just picking up fish. What is that? All right. I guess it's the next question
from VGC Kenny. Yeah.
Sorry. So, did we definitively? How far can it go? Pretty far, I guess. But try to stay in the same genre. Maybe. Oh no! One last example came to mind. Remember when XCOM tried to pivot into that third-person thing? People hated that.
I don't remember that. No.
Like Bureau Declassified or whatever, that game that came out in like 2011.
Yeah, I barely remember that. No, like
2012 or whatever. It's like they announced XCOM is like, oh, we're doing a first-person Bioshock-esque reboot, and people were like, boo! And then like Firaxis or whatever, or was it Maxis? Firaxis, right? They released like Enemy Unknown, and everyone was like, that's what we really want.
Yeah.
And then the third-person thing came out later, and it was like, no. This is not it. So I guess that's an example. Not like that.
I think also if you kind of go like against the goodwill of what like something, if you take the wrong lessons from something, like that's going to be a pretty big red flag for a lot of people. Like, listen, I like Diablo Immortal, but I understand that was the wrong direction to take that series, especially after a decade of not a like mainline thing even being talked about. Like, that was just bad. That was so mishandled. But, yeah, so stay in your genre. Try to keep, like, some thorough line way that they're connected. And try not to, like, do something that just seems like a weird cash grab on your IP. Maybe. Stuff like that.
Just fill it with microtransactions, $25 armor or something. That'd be weird.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
VGC Kenny writes, do you find yourself living in a shotgun do you find yourself living in a shotgun shack being a stick in the mud about certain video games or anything in general? For instance, I have a weirdly specific Ace Attorney opinion not a lot of people share with me, but also it ties to a quote Sean mentioned one time about how a large percentage of a person's list of favorite games are games they played when they were like 13 to 16 or something. And that's when I started playing Ace Attorney. So a lot of my opinions stem from how that colored my opinion on what Ace Attorney is. I'm going to quickly follow this up with, I won't listen to music basically made in the last 10 years because it's not the music I listened to growing up. So yes, I'm a weird stick in the mud about some stuff.
I try to get into new stuff sometimes, but
it's garbage though.
It's a lot of... Well... Not everything's garbage, but it's hard to... It's like a mental bridge from what you like has to be made between the new stuff or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Stuff I have weird opinions about, Wario's Woods, but I'm just gonna move on from that. It's a lot of GameCube stuff I was realizing because I was in that age range when that came out. So I kind of have like... No, this is what Luigi's Mansion's supposed to be. When they put more mansions in it in 2, they ruined it. It's supposed to be one thing that you're stuck in. It's like Resident Evil for kids. It was great. And it's like, I haven't actually played that game in like 20 years, so maybe it's fine. Maybe 3 is what it should be or something. I haven't played 3. But I guess I'm nervous about 3 because I have like that weird hang up on what I feel it should be striving to be, which is Luigi's Mansion 1, but again, or something. So, but bigger. I don't know. Bigger mansion. And yeah, I also wrote down Shadows of the Empire, which is a game I have too much fondness for because it's kind of terrible. But that was my Star Wars when I was like 9. So it's really important to me, and I like it a lot.
When did that game come out?
Actually, probably bad. 1996. Like December, I think. Like it missed the launch, but just a little bit.
I just want to see something because that game was $90 in 1996, and
yes, it was.
I just want to see.
I remember with tax, I was at Zeller's paying like $96, including like toonies and stuff, because it was like lawnmower money. Yeah.
When people complain about paying a lot for games, I just want this to be a thing that you remember. We paid, well, Nathan paid because I didn't think the game was good, so I never got it. or I guess I never begged my parents for it, which would have been the style at the time.
I saved up for this thing, so
wow,
I was doing
good for you
and stuff. But anyway, yeah. Character building, so I had to like it because I just spent like $100.
It was $90 in 1996. That is $174 in 2023 money, adjusted for inflation.
Just for the video game, no,
just the game.
Collector's edition, anything. I don't get a Dash Rendar on my desk or anything. I just get a cart with that game on it. Like 7.3 or something on GameSpot. I had to put time into it though. Beat it on Jedi. You got to do it. So I guess I can relate to stuff sticking that you get. That's something I feel I've gotten like grouchy about is like the new wave of Star Wars stuff. It's just like, man, you kids have it so lucky. You're Jedi survivors and whatnot. I was playing this garbage with jetpack.
Garbage.
I had to exploit Boba Fett by standing in between the cannons. It's just dumb, but that's what I had. So I just played to get better times on the same 9 levels. Or whatever it is, 11 levels.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Super Star Wars too, because that's just something I owned. To the point where that game, I still find I can beat that game. Like Disney's Magical Quest or whatever is like, I don't know what happened. Like I've lost all of these skills. Super Star Wars is just like, oh yeah, I remember how this goes. It's just a pattern. It's like you just memorized it. So anyway. Yeah. Oh, it's my turn to read, right?
Yes.
Okay. Final question. This is from Phantom Aegis. Ahoy, TDP crew. Would you rather be in a large, dark cave by yourself for a day or above in the middle of an ocean by yourself for a day? You can't die. You just have to endure a day in either scenario. I said that part. It just says death not included.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, it's probably the middle of an ocean.
You'd rather do that?
Probably. I don't want to be in dark solitude for 24 hours. The dark specifically, I think, would do a lot to, ruin your mind.
Huh. I went the opposite. I immediately was like, I can't deal with being in such a wide space. I'd probably get hypnotized and fall into the ocean and die or something. I don't know. I didn't trust that scenario because it's too alien and I get baked by the sun or whatever.
I fucking hate the ocean.
I'll just role play as Gollum or something for a day, sleep as much as I can because it's dark.
Yeah, you're right.
And just try to deal with it. So I know it's solitary or whatever, it's bad, but it's just one day.
Being able to sleep.
That's where I went.
Would be huge, yeah. I don't think Yeah, I hate the ocean. I know I've said it so many times on different podcasts, but it terrifies me. I've never been an ocean person. I fucking hate that thing. Have you ever looked out onto an ocean at night? It's like the most terrifying alien thing in the world. It's the worst. But
yeah. No, I found the ocean too. As a landlocked person my whole life, it was no, it's too alien.
Totally.
That's too weird. So, yeah.
The idea of a cave, though. It is a large, dark cave, so I guess I wouldn't feel as claustrophobic as I might normally.
That's the thing, though. If it's dark enough, its vastness wouldn't make you existentially terrified. Whereas in the ocean, you'd see it. Is what I was thinking. I was like, I can't deal with feeling that small for a whole day. But in a cave, you got echoes and things. You could have fun with it.
These are both terrible.
As best you can. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be pretty terrible, but anyway. But there you go. That's the questions. topdownperspective@gmail.com. Sorry the answers were so extensive. I know Paul didn't want to do this long of a show, but I'm just chatty Kathy today, so that's what happened.
It was good. It was the one question that's provide a thesis on video game genres. All right.
Yeah, well, it was a big one.
Here we go.
Said 5 to 10, so you gotta go through a bunch of stuff. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Games of the week time. I think I don't know. You kind of want, maybe you want to shine a light on a tiny game. I don't know.
I definitely don't know. So here's the thing, is that I knew I was going to love Diablo 4. My game of the week came out of nowhere. It's Homebody. Homebody is fucking fantastic, and people should pick that thing up. Because Diablo 4 is going to still get better and better as I go. But Homebody was a nice surprise.
I think for me, just because it was also a great podcasting game for me, is Super Mario Maker 2.
Yeah.
I know it's not new, but it was new to me. And I like playing Mario games, so there was some good levels, there was some terrible levels, but that's just how it goes. Yeah, it's generally pretty great. That's my preferred Nintendo character this week between the big showdown. Link, Mario. Mario wins. He can jump higher. He can talk more. It's just weird. But yeah.
One more genre. One more genre out of nowhere.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Free to play game. Best and worst recommendation for free
best
to play.
introduction you could ever do. Original RuneScape. It's got so many quests in it.
It's pretty good.
Bronze armor. You know. No, I'm just joking. I'm basically just saying that's where I was when I was playing free to play stuff. It's better than MapleStory. I'll stand by that.
Okay.
But no, what's hot and good like free to play gaming? Like
Honkai Star Rail.
Is that actually good? There was a bunch of stuff about that today in Game Fest. They were talking.
I mean,
about
I like it, but it's a gacha game, so like, be worried about that.
Okay. I think there's a new Square Final Fantasy gacha thing coming to phones, so maybe that'll be a contender, in this space.
There is that Nier one
that
I played a lot of, so that's pretty okay.
I downloaded it, but I was like, oh, I can't. I don't know. So, I just don't think I like the genre.
And yeah, like Lineback saying, Honkai Star Rail is like actually a weirdly decent JRPG, almost like a turn-based RPG. So it might be worth looking into, honestly. It's pretty good.
And probably the roughest intro at this point, old school RuneScape. You just can't really, like, why would you play it anymore?
It's such like a Todd and Aaron thing. Java. It's like best free to play game, old school RuneScape. Worst old school RuneScape.
Also old school RuneScape. You just have to be, if you're 35 years old.
Yeah.
And your name is Nathan. Old school RuneScape. Quality business.
Yeah. All right. That was fun. I guess we're back to normal next week. I don't really know. I haven't talked to the other guys at all this week, so I don't think they knew that we were doing a show tonight. They were under the impression it was just nothing.
No, I think you told the Discord, and
I did, but like nobody said anything. Oh, did they? Okay, I didn't see it.
There's a reaction. There's a fire emoji or something. So I think that's good. I think that means you're doing good. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so that's going to do it for this week. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Yeah.